I'm Jessica Johnson Cope.
And I'm Waleed Cope.
And
this is Commerce and Chill.
And we are back. Welcome to the latest episode of Commerce and Chill. I am Jessica Johnson Cope.
Hey, I'm Waleed Cope. We're back.
We're back. We're business partners. We're husband and wife. And we're here to talk to you about the intersection of entrepreneurship, business, and all the fun things that come in life.
In
Not
between,
so fun things.
above, all around, all that stuff.
So if you didn't see the last episode, we were talking about P.P.P, the Paycheck Protection Program.
Because if I wanted to go to a bank for a loan or a mortgage right now and apply online, they'd be like, in 3 days, you're approved or you get pre-approved. Like, I know.
Still waiting.
And Mr. Cope here got really, I won't say excited.
Buyer. Salty.
Salty, yes. That would be an appropriate word.
Yeah. I'm still slightly salty.
He got really salty trying to figure out how hard is it for the government to give out money.
Yeah. I'm like the New York City pretzel when you buy it and it's mad salt on it and you try to scrape some off when you're walking down the street before you eat it. Still salty.
Still salty.
Still waiting.
It's a week later. So the government, through the Small Business Administration, had a program called Paycheck Protection. Can we keep it down, please? P.P.P, the Paycheck Protection Program, which was supposed to help small businesses keep people on their payrolls.
Yep.
It was some $349 billion.
Something like that. It wasn't enough, whatever it was.
That the SBA was executing through
2 weeks.
Approved lenders.
Zero.
They encourage you to go to your bank or bank that was familiar with you and your
PPP.
business situation.
You get the money.
They said it was first come, first serve.
But it wasn't.
And now here it is. The program ran out of money.
What do you mean the bank is out of money?
Like in 2 weeks.
Drip, 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 drop.
$0 left.
They ran out of money, and then they found out all of these large public companies that
Publicly traded companies.
publicly traded companies
Got millions of dollars in PPP money.
Yes. And
10 million, 4 million, 5 million, whatever.
yeah, we're not going to say any names because they already got enough publicity. They
Oh,
don't need
legit.
our help.
I'm not trying to it's not their fault.
The thing is,
Who created the platform for them to apply for it? If you don't put the rules and the structure in place, then you're saying everybody can apply for it. So.
right? But I felt a little salty, right? Because I was just like, yes, go get your money. Apply. Like, it's like the lotto. You got to be in it to win it. If you don't get your application in, you can't be considered and you won't get the money.
True.
And we were very fortunate because we work with some awesome bankers, and our awesome bankers were like, all right, this is when the line opens. You stand on the velvet side of the rope.
I'm still in line.
And potentially you can get in the club a little bit faster.
I'm still in line. I haven't gotten in the club yet.
We're still in line.
Yeah. I'm still salty, though.
Which brings... Well, no. Because I'm like, what am
You're
I...
just peppered. I'm salty.
Oh, no. I was tight the other day. I was a bevy of flavors the other day, and I had very flavorful language.
Lowry's, Old Bay. Like
Pick
that?
one. Oh, yeah. Let's say Old Bay.
Season
I was
all.
Old Bay seasoned the other day when the program ran out of money because I was like...
Oh, like that was a given. I knew they was going to run out of money.
But I told people... I was telling people to apply.
Small businesses, 30 point whatever million small businesses in the United States. And if you're saying they all can get at least... Let's just choose some arbitrary number. Let's say they all can at least get $10,000. 30 million times $10,000 is more than 340 billion. My calculator won't even go that high when I tried to do the math. It errored out on me. I was just like, okay. So maybe their calculator errored out, which is why they ran out of money.
So go back and watch the last episode. You can see how Cope responded when I told him like everybody should go out and apply.
So part of the lesson
They're
is
waiting.
that you need to understand the systems.
Oh, I understand the systems, but I don't think the systems understand what they need.
And then I was like, you need to talk to your elected officials, right? Because it's our federal legislators, our U.S. congressmen and our U.S. senators that are passing the legislation that puts the money in the SBA's hands to facilitate getting out to small business owners. So when they said that the program had run out of money, the first thing I did was I got on the phone with a representative from our U.S. congressman's office like, yo, what's up? Where's the money? When they gonna get it?
You don't know. It's gone.
Okay.
It's in those publicly traded companies' bank accounts because they process theirs first.
Potentially, but I was like,
Not all of them. I take it back.
I was like,
Some.
I'm going to shoot my shot. And I was like, so I reached out to our congressman. Then I waited for the door to close. And then I sent an email to Senator Schumer. And I was like, yo, what's up with the money? And I was about to
Did you get a response from any of them?
So the congressman's office did respond. They were like, let's have a conversation next week. And he actually did. The congressman's representative.
Was next week this week?
Actually, he texted me on Friday.
To say this week.
That was last week.
Right, to say let's talk this week.
No, he texted me on Friday to ask me for some information about some other small businesses to see what the next steps could potentially be.
Okay.
But
some progress.
Number one, we have a relationship
Still waiting
with that office, and that office knows that we also work with other small businesses that we're looking to benefit and that have been impacted by this whole pandemic crisis, right? So you're going off, and I was like, well, did you tell your congressman? Did you tell your elected officials? And you were like, no, what you say?
No, just look at the episode from last week. I'm like, tell them what? Like, what do I need to tell them? Everybody knows small businesses need the money, right? And they didn't get the money. What's that dude that's next to the president all the time?
The vice president?
No, not that dude. The other dude that they have up there talking
Secret
about.
Service?
We're working. Is it Nugent or something like that? And he's like,
Stephen Mnuchin.
thank you. We're working to get the money out, and it's important.
He's the secretary of the Treasury.
Okay, sorry. I totally dropped the ball on your title there. No disrespect.
Shout out to Mr. Mnuchin. Get the money out.
He's doing his thing. I don't know all the details. I'm not political. Like people ask me political stuff all the time. I'm not talking about it because I don't know left, right, center aisle, conservative, liberal. I don't understand any of it. I'm not talking about it. I just want to talk about the plain and simple facts. Someone needs the money. How do we get them the money?
Okay.
That's it. Again, how hard is it to give away money? Giving away money is probably one of the easiest things to do. Okay. I tell you right now, give me, I don't know, let's come up with some arbitrary number. Small business could use some money. Give me $10 million. Give me $5 million and tell me I'm in charge of giving $5 million in grant money to small businesses that meet this criteria from 2 to 50 employees in this geographic location. Done. You will have no problems out of me taking care of that. That's all. Just give me the criteria. It will be done. Quick, fast, mad efficient.
So then here's a question.
But your question was, what did I say when you were like...
You told them to watch the episode. You said you're going to tell them to watch the episode, and you said it.
Yeah. And then you said something about talking about local politicians. They know. Like
they don't know.
No. They know what's going on. But let me tell you something. If you work in the capacity of... Listen, let me make this easier. You entrepreneur. You want feedback about your service or your product. Who do you go to? Bruh. Your clients, your customers, your team members. And you get information from them to enhance your product or your service. You solicit feedback. You survey them. That's how you get it. So if I'm a politician, what should I do? I should knock on people's doors. Get information. Survey them. Call them. Robocall me. Press 1. If you live in my district, which you shouldn't have to do because you can get the census tracts and all that data. You could even buy it from all these agencies, which businesses buy it from and market it to them. You could literally go to community board meetings. This is a free tip. Go to community board meetings. It's a community board meeting. More than likely, people in that meeting live in that community. And solicit information from them directly to enhance what needs to be done in your community. I digress.
Okay. So you make some very valid points. The thing is, what you often see, or at least what I often see, is we have politicians out there, both on the local and the state and federal level, who like to write legislation for small businesses and are not fully engaged with the small businesses that are their constituents.
Because they're pandering to the votes.
Right. As for
so
example,
I'm going to pander to this group of whoever who I think will vote for me, or I'm going to do something short term that's going to be like, oh, I'm going to get more votes. Like
I'll give you an example. Today, New York City Council announces that they have a COVID-19 legislative relief package to be introduced today.
Here comes the salt on my pretzel.
The New York City Council will introduce a COVID-19 relief package that aims to protect tenants, help small businesses survive, and find creative ways to address the public health crisis brought on by the virus.
It's going to help small business survive? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So then listen to what some of the
scrape some salt off my pretzel.
This is some of the bills that they're recommending. The New York City Essential Workers Bill of Rights. Number 1, premiums for essential workers. The council will consider legislation that will require large employers to pay premiums to certain essential non-salaried worker. I'm
Wait a
sorry.
minute. So what's considered what in this bill is considered a large business?
Anything with more than 100 employees.
What?
That's me.
What?
That's me. I don't live on Park Avenue. I live in the hood.
Wait. So they're saying that
I drive an 11-year-old Honda.
right. So if someone has a business with more than 100 employees,
And it's an essential business.
and they're not salaried, they should receive premium pay. It says.
Yes.
Okay, I got
Until the state of emergency is
over.
listed.
Listen, I've got no problem with paying people, premium amount during crisis times or a pandemic, whatever term we want to use for this bill. I got one question: where is the money going to come from? Because if I'm running a small business now, or a large business, because I have 101 employees, sir,
You get the money.
and I'm making it month to month to pay all my people and clear enough to pay all the city and state taxes and fees. And then you're going to say, I must magically get more money and give my people a premium, which I want to do. But tell me, zoom in so you can read my mouth. Where do I get the money from? Where? Does it magically just appear in my account because someone created a new law? It kind of doesn't work that way in business, sir.
You
I have to charge someone for what I sell or produce to get money in. Part of that money pays all of my expenses, including my essential team members, who I love dearly. And then a very small portion of that becomes profit, which most of the time I'm reinvesting back into my 101 employees, large business. Where does it come from? Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, okay. So that was one.
Who comes up with this?
I can tell you who comes up with it, but you know them.
I want to say I know them.
Yeah, you know
I know them personally.
Yes, you do. One of the other bills that they're introducing is...
Who comes up with it? The title of this says it's to help small businesses during an epidemic.
Well, this is the thing.
Okay, what's some of the other bills?
So then the other bill to help the workers,
Go ahead.
just cause rights for essential workers. And basically it says that the council would consider legislation to prohibit all hiring parties of essential workers from firing those workers without just cause. The bill will help protect essential workers and enable them to openly identify their concerns on the job or reorganize with other workers without fear of retaliation. We're in a crisis.
So
We're providing essential services. Ain't nobody trying to retaliate. We're just trying to keep our people safe. We're trying to keep the city safe.
Time out.
Yes.
Let me just understand this. So, and this is not with me. Listen to all the details, and I haven't read it thoroughly, so I'm kind of shooting from the hip here. So I might catch some flack on this. But from what you just said, they're saying that this is supposed to protect workers because a business fires them during a pandemic for retaliation. Retaliation for what? Oh,
For not going to work in the pandemic?
maybe. Have you decided to create a bill that covers the other side? Have y'all looked at how many people have been firing themselves from their jobs, essential jobs, to stay home because the new unemployment, it's so high and has all these perks? Somebody's like, I'd rather stay home than go to work. Are we taking that into account? Because if we put that in the law where it protects the employee and the employer, we have a two sides of it. Sign me up. I'm down. But we can't make it one-sided. It's got to be a two-way street. That's why small businesses work in America, because it's a give and take between their team members and the person who started or owns the business. If you go into most small businesses, they have a very close relationship with their team members, aka employees, for those who don't, still in the 1960s and it's boss and employee. They have a close relationship. That's why it's a small business. That's why it works, because everybody's putting in and giving up something. It's called sacrifice. So now you're saying just make it totally one-sided? Yeah. So then man, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so these are the bills that they're looking to introduce to protect the small businesses.
Oh, now we're going to protect small business. All right.
After we cut the small businesses off at their kneecaps,
right,
we're going to protect them.
Because I'm in court right now because supposedly I was retaliating against someone because I'm not allowed to fire people during a pandemic.
There's a commercial tenant
But if I had
harassment.
a big company, I could just shut everything down and file bankruptcy and then in a couple of weeks open back up under the same name and get mad funding from all types of sources, but a small business can't. I'm still waiting for my P.P.P. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Commercial tenant harassment, that's the name of the bill. With limited federal relief funds, many businesses
commercial
affected
tenant
by
harassment. So you're saying the landlord can't harass the commercial tenant?
Yeah.
It's a commercial lease. If I break it like 9 times out of 10, my landlord ain't suing me for the balance of it. They're like, you're out. And depending what I negotiate in the lease anyway, they're just going to take my security deposit and maybe put a negative rating on my credit report and be like, peace. And they're going to re-rent the
But this
space.
is what they write. The council will consider legislation to make threatening any commercial tenant based on their status as a COVID-19 impacted business or person a form of harassment, punishable by a civil penalty of $10,000 to $50,000. Really, guys?
Really?
That's the best you could do?
What else? What else we got?
Suspending personal liability on commercial leases. The council will consider legislation to temporarily suspend personal liability provisions in leases and other rental agreements on COVID-19 impacted businesses while the state of emergency is in effect, ensuring that city business owners don't face the loss of their businesses and personal financial ruin or bankruptcy. But it's okay.
I'm sorry, I totally blanked out on that. My ADD totally kicked in while you were reading that. Can you summarize that for me? What does that mean? What were they saying?
It means that they don't want small business owners to have personal liability issues during the state of emergency if they're not able to pay on their commercial leases.
So those are the things that they put in place.
And then the one other that they're saying is suspending sidewalk cafe fees. The council will consider legislation to suspend annual sidewalk cafe fees, reducing this fixed cost for the city's cash strategy.
What else?
Okay. So this is the thing.
I'm about to just lose it.
This is the thing. I'm going to tell everybody that if you own a business, know your electeds, even if they're not from the same party. Let them know who you are, who your business is,
call people
what your issues
email
are.
People about this, because this makes no ever-loving sense. Zero. And let's be clear. I'm 100% on the side of any team member at any business, small, medium, or large, and not people not being taken advantage of. But I don't want any other business owner being taken advantage of by laws, regulations, or politicians. So why not have a conversation with the small business owner, the employees of that small business, and other small business and employees, and find out what do they think is best for their situations. How can you make rules for something you do not do or take part in? That's where I'm so perplexed. Do you see me walking into my favorite restaurant, walking past the cashier, past the counter, and going into the kitchen and telling the chef what the hell to put in the food that I'm ordering? No. I sit there, stand behind the counter, I order, I pull out my credit card, and I pay. And I stay in my place in that restaurant while they prepare the food that I ordered off the menu.
I'll say this.
How about that?
It's not all that bad. It's not all that bad from our perspective because we've been investing in relationships with our elected officials. We have been working.
No, use the relationships we have with some of our elected officials are good.
Yes,
but
that's because advocating for our businesses is important to us.
But we're talking about bills that are being proposed to law.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. And it's just a bill. It's not a law.
Just a bill.
But it starts as a bill.
Only a bill.
And then later.
Well, I wonder who that sad little scrap of paper is.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill.
Later on, it becomes something else.
Here on
Schoolhouse Rock, if you're not
Hill.
down with it. Right?
Well,
it could overwhelmingly, not overwhelmingly, it could, if it gets overwhelming support or votes, whatever the process is, slightly ignorant to it, no shame there, it could become a law. And then what?
And then what? These are the three things that you need to do. Know your elected officials, contact your elected officials, stay in contact with your elected officials. And if you can't advocate on your own, join some type of advocacy group. I know that I'm a part of Women Impacting Public Policy, WHIP. Thank you, WHIP, for your monthly advocacy updates, letting us know what's going on in the Hill. The team there is phenomenal. And then that gives me information that I can go back to our electeds and help them understand how the proposed legislation will impact us. I'll also have to say thank you to some of the local electeds to whom we've reached out to and trying to find new hires, right? Because we are yet open for business. And because we have those relationships, they've been getting that information out. And so we've increased our employees by a significant number over the past 2 weeks with the help of our elected. So advocacy is important. If you're a small business owner, they need to know you and you need to know them. It's a two-way street. So don't just get mad, get active and advocate.
No, but let's be clear what I'm annoyed about. I'm annoyed about people making things from a punitive perspective, right? It's always punitive. Like, I'm not going to go into it, but think of the plastic bag ban or law here in New York City. It's punitive. You get a plastic bag, and don't get me wrong, plastic bags are, like, I'm all for the environment. Like, I do not understand half the stuff we do in this world. Listen, the planet doesn't need us. We need the planet, so we should be taking care of it. So don't get me wrong, but the plastic ban thing here in New York City came from a perspective of negativity. It was, if you get a plastic bag in the store, you pay, 5 cents or whatever the cost is for the bag? But why did it always have to be negative? Why couldn't it be something positive to say, if you bring your own recyclable bag, or you carry them in your arm, or you put it in your pocket, I don't know, you get 5 cents off your bill. You get 3 cents off your order. Why couldn't it be incentive versus being negative? Why we always got to come with the negative perception with things, right? So my thing is not the politicians. It's not the law. It's the way we go about it. We go about it always from a punitive and a negative side. Instead of figuring out how do we encourage. You don't teach children that way, right? Former New York City public school teacher, 100%. If I went in the classroom and every time I taught a subject or a topic to a student and they all got it wrong and I did something negative, the school would be up in arms, parents would be up in arms, the community would be up in arms. You not using positive reinforcement to encourage children. Don't you think that works the same way with adults? It should be positive. So the question should be, how do we sit down with all these different groups, employees and business owners, and come to a medium ground with the politicians to say, hey, this is what we're thinking, because we don't want this to happen again if there's ever another pandemic. So what things do we not want to happen? We don't want people. We saw that some businesses were wrongfully terminating people. Respect. Happens all the time, not just during the pandemic, But that's one of the things we're concerned about. Okay. The other thing we're concerned about is commercial landlords taking advantage and threatening small businesses. We want to figure out how do we fix these two things and whatever other things they mentioned. Okay, well, let's sit down as a group of small business owners. small business employees, aka team members, and come up with an idea together. Not one-sided. You can't do this one-sided. It does not work.
Not at all.
Because if you push one side too much, the employee says, you know what, I quit. And then the small business doesn't have any employees. And if you push the other side too much, the small business says, you know what,
I'm done.
I'll close. Or here's one for you. And we've seen it. History repeats itself. I will just automate the stuff my employees do. Do you not think these robots are going to flip these burgers and drop these fries in fast food restaurants? You see it now. They have the touch screens. How many more cashiers do they really need? So it's better to come from a positive approach instead of a punitive approach. Bring everybody to the table, find a medium ground for everybody, and guess what? We all win. The problem is people think negotiation means someone has to lose for the other person to win, and that's not true. You could have a negotiation and both parties could win. Employers and employees can both win. And the politicians, guess what? If you mediate it and you bring everybody together, guess who really gets the votes at the end of the day? From two groups of constituents is the word
That's
I'm
the
looking for.
word.
You win. You win another term. You get to be in your office again and again until you hit term limits. And then if you're really good, maybe people vote to remove the term limits for you. We've seen that happen before. Bring people together. Be positive, not negative.
I'll just say one.
Salt.
One
Negativity
last
equals
thing.
salt.
One
That's
last
my new thing for the rest of this month. Negativity equals salt.
When you talk about bringing people together,
I want memes of that. I want quotes. I want that all over my social. Negativity equals salt.
when Waleed
Positivity
talks about
equals
bringing
honey.
people
Honey,
together,
sweetness.
if you're a small business owner and you don't know how to come together with other like-minded small business owners who may have similar issues, go to your local chamber of commerce. We're very fortunate here in
Yes.
New York. We have several chambers of commerce.
Politicians should go there too, not just other small businesses.
Now the chambers of commerce will lobby with the
Wow,
with
we
the
just hit the
politicians.
-6 minute mark.
We must be selling oil.
I'm feeling so special.
We must
right
be
now.
selling oil.
I am salty. Oh, we selling oil.
There you go.
Hope you buying stocks, people.
But join your local
Hope you
chamber
buying.
of commerce, and then you'll find some like-minded business owners as well as people that will help you advocate for yourself.
-6 minutes.
Don't forget, it's all about advocating. And so we're going to advocate for
Still got 4
you
more
to
minutes.
come back and see us for another episode of Commerce and Chill, where we talk about the intersection of entrepreneurship, small business ownership, and love, life, and everything
And politics.
politics. I am
me
Jessica
up.
Johnson.
Local
Coe.
politicians, I'm open. Let's talk.
He's
I'm here for
Waleed
you.
Coe.
No salt, no shade. Let's just talk about how we make this better for everybody.
We run our
The
families'
community,
businesses,
the
the
employees,
soapbox,
the employers,
Johnson Security.
the small business owners, everybody. We can all win.
We're waiting for our P.P.P so we can keep putting
Let's
people to
build
work.
an empire of positivity.
Yo, elected,
Honey, not salt.
holla at me. I got some things to tell you, especially
Come
if you're
on.
on city
We can
council.
do a lot
Kojo,
together.
we got the same last name. Holla at your girl. Let's make this work.
I'm out.
Deuces.
Thanks for tuning in. Hit the bell, subscribe. Tell me what you think.
5 stars.
I was really amped today, but I still love you all. Politicians, employees, everybody. It's all love. See you next week.